come take a walk with me. It's 54 degrees today, Fahrenheit. Wild. Considering it's December 30th, 2024, we're in the heart of winter. And it is mild as can be. Really, can't recall a day ever being this warm. Very different. And the stream is really flowing today. I can hear it. If you listen carefully, you can hear it too. It's not just breeze. In fact, let's go pay a visit. Through the prickers we go. Seem to have lost my place. He's gonna hold on to me. That's okay. Hold on to me all you want, as long as you can. For I am moving onward. Today, our discourse is to discuss the elusive non-player character, the NPC. Oh, I just went into a big spider web. It's okay. Sorry, Spidey. Wasn't my intention. Okay. Yes, the water is flowing beautifully today. Great force. Wow. You can see fermentation happening. I'll show you in a moment. Some buildup of fermentation there. I see some rhyolite. Dead center. Lots of movement today. Thinking of olive opal today. I have one. Just have to dig it up somewhere. Wherever it went to. I feel like I want to hold it today. Some olive opal. For some reason. See some citrine. Do you? Well, I see a beautiful carnelian. Some ferrous oxide in it. Look at that. Like a steak. Beautiful. That's a beauty. Yep. Stick some turning. That is red as can be. That's a nice yellow jasper. That's a good one. That'd be nice for protection. And this is constantly changing because of the streams. Everything kind of renews itself in time, but this is the, oh, it's a yellow jasper after all. I thought it was a citrine. I was mistaken. That's okay. Today we're going to talk about non-player characters, NPCs. Perhaps you recall we discussed how this game of life works, and that we become what we think about. And so the non-player character is the person who is unconscious of this. That's all. And when I say unconscious, I'm saying it in the Eckhart Tolle way. He talks, because you could of course say, okay, someone who's unconscious has been knocked out. I get it. When I refer to someone who is unconscious, I'm referring to someone who is unaware of their own aliveness and taken entirely by a performance that is their life. And that performance is everything. That is to be unconscious. And my argument is there's so much more than just life experience. All right. Let's have a look here. This is a carnelian in a way. It's quartz. Trying to get an example for you to see with better clarity. Wonder if I'll have an option or an opportunity to show you. Some serpentinite. Sometimes it's radioactive. That's the thing, some of these stones could be radioactive, you don't know. Just by looking at them, if they are. And so I was saying before, with rains, these stones drop out. And it just does that throughout the seasons. Some seasons have more rains than others. Don't mind my camera work right now, my friends. Just doing my thing. Okay. Curious to see what this is. It was looking at me, so I started looking at it. goes. That looks to be the smoky quartz. And that's well rounded, you see, from the alluvial deposits. Just constant water and washout forms a nice smooth surface over time. That would not be from the fracture itself. Well, that's cool. It's got some pyrite speckles in there. Just saw that in the water. It's the normal stone on the outside. Cobalt, what have you. Cool. And then there's this one that was staring at me and saying, "Hey, what are you up to today?" "Not much," says I. And that's dirt. Don't mistake it as rust or iron. You know. Yeah, that's a smoky quartz. It's a healing stone. This is a healer. It's a good one to turn to, you know. It's got some semi-transparency even on a cloudy day. It's pretty. This stone could heal someone. You hold it like this. Connect with the points. Squeeze. Do some mechanical stress. And that starts to heal. And you know, it's getting access to this running water adds an extra dimension to the healing stone. So, very cool. Nice. Alright, let's make our way, shall we? So when someone is carrying out this role, unbeknownst to them, they are alive as something more than just an accumulation of life experiences. If they're unaware of this, then they are a non-player character, and that makes sense, right? Because a real player would have an observer or a watcher on the other side of the game. So there would be, think of it like going to the arcade. It's probably the best example I can give you, and then we can turn that into, think about it as if you were not just at an arcade, but rather at home with a set-top box with a virtual headset where you're playing. This is a nice yellow jasper example. And that has some unique, what seems to be points right on the top there. Let's have a look a little closer. Let's have a closer look. Oh, man. So you can't see the crystals without magnification. This is a beautiful example of a yellow jasper. Really nice. Looks like we got something else here. Have a look. Oh yeah, this is a tiger's eye. Thought I saw it. Thought I saw a tiger's eye. That's a nice one. That's a really nice looking tiger's eye. Very cool. Let's see what this is. Looks like some chalcopyrite and some bronzite. This is a very nice healing stone. This is a protection stone and an abundance stone. some bronzite with chalcopyrite and mica inclusions. And it's got a nice feel, as you can see when you zoom back. What's really nice about this is that it's got 2 points, so you can get that piezoelectric effect quite easily. That one was looking at me today, saying, hey, the world needs protection. A little bit of abundance and goodness all at the same time. How about a little bronzite for your day? A little bronzite. That's how you would work the stone. Much like that. Well, one of the many surprises of the woods include when you are conscious of your awareness, of your aliveness, I should say. Evidence starts to show itself that you're being rewarded for paying attention. Have you ever been awarded for paying attention? You know? Sometime in your life, have you ever? That's a smoky quartz, or maybe a moonstone, I don't know. That's beautiful, isn't it? Just sitting here amongst the other stones in the running stream, but this one is on his own. Beautiful, isn't it? When you're paying attention, things just seem to appear out of nowhere. Could be a felled tree trying to tell you something. Could be a very warm day in winter, also trying to tell you something. Look at the quality of that soil. See that? This is extremely rich. In comparison to what was closer to the surface, you can see that is literally black gold right there. You could use that in your garden. It's got some charcoal elements. This looks like it was a lightning strike, if I'm not mistaken. You got this char going all the way down. Chickadees are out. Those little high-pitched squeaks that you hear are chickadees communicating. And then they'll let you know what they truly mean based on what follows. So, but the chickadees are out today, whereas yesterday, silence in the woods, as it were. Yeah, hello chickadee. Saying, watch out, we got a big lumbering man coming through. Oh wait, that's the guy that gives us treats so that we don't have to forage so much every day. But they got plenty of food on this day because the grubs are thinking it's spring. They're coming out. That's why the woodpeckers are silent, because their bellies are full, I'm sure. Woodpeckers are great like that. They will hack into a tree when it thaws, and the grubs that were hiding underneath that want to become moths and other burrowing pests get eaten. And they're good eating. High in protein and fat, carbohydrates, the whole nine is all there. So that's that. I had some nice watermelon this morning. Some gourd. And the watermelon is great for men, especially men who are trying to keep their prostate healthy. You want to have watermelon as much as you can. You know the secret with picking out a good watermelon? I'll tell you. The secret to picking out a good watermelon is you want the lines that are on the rind to be as thick and separated as possible. And when you have that, you know you have a very sweet, densely packed, flavorful watermelon. That's how you can tell. And the rind, the outside of the watermelon, which most people discard, is filled with medicine. I forget the name. It starts with an L. It's like a lysine or something like that. Lycopene. Something to that effect. As I said, the name escapes me. But you get a good charge of that from the rind especially. So just keep in mind that the entire gourd that is the watermelon is edible. It is. Though people go for the innards because it's the sweetest part. The most flavorful and nourishing as far as hydration goes. Put that medicine on the outside. You want to, let's say you're making a watermelon smoothie. Just throw the whole rind in there. Because it's part of the cucumber family. It's a close relative. It's a gourd, so you get that same benefit that you would get from the cucumber shell, the outer skin, except it's amplified. And it's also wonderfully hydrating. It's what's referred to as structured water. That water is found in a gelatinous form. Just as we have a fourth component of water in our bodies. We have a gelatinous form of water in the form of hemoglobin, blood. It's gelatinous. Our cellular structures are gelatinous. That could be another yellow jasper. But as I was saying, 4 phases of water exist. In truth, if you think of this structured water as another component of water that exists in living things. And it's, as I said, gelatinous. So that structured water, instead of it coming in as spring water, which is great, it's more of a cleansing, flushing thing, more than a hydrating thing. This water that comes into the body from the flesh of the watermelon and other gourds, which are higher than 90% water, just goes perfectly into the body for integration. And it's filled with electrolytes. It's charged. It has minerals. A number of beneficial things for you. So make sure you have some of that rind. It's rough, it's chewy, it's tough. However, it's filled with beneficial components, especially for men. Helps with the prostate. Extremely hydrating. Gives you energy. It's mood elevating. It's a terrific plant. So have watermelon or any form of gourd as frequently as you can. Let's walk. So the NPC doesn't want to be told that they don't know what they're doing. And it's because the NPC has a role to play, like all players. But this player isn't the principal player that is going through and gaining levels and EXP and gold. No, the non-player character runs an inn in the town that you're visiting on the time that your day or whatever that you're visiting. And you got to hold conversation with the NPC from time to time because it seems like the story isn't moving along, right? And you're thinking to myself, I know what the NPC says every single time. The NPC has a specific dialogue. They're going to talk about these things first. Then they'll talk about these things if I prompt them in this way. They have their own stories, and the same stories are repeated. Same routine, gets up at a certain hour, goes to bed at a certain hour. And the NPC is just awaiting interaction from you. Now, there comes the day where you've advanced along in your journey in the game of life, as it were, to an extent where this non-player character starts to open up a new dialogue, and this is different. Like, oh, this is different. Perhaps they're wearing something new. Maybe the environment's changed a little. And now the dialogue is different. It's coming out in a way that's unusual. And so now you're paying close attention, because if you're playing the game of life and you know you're interacting with a non-player character and the dialogue has changed, then this is for a reason. And the reason is to advance you along. It's to let you know that you are advancing, that things are changing, that there is a shift, an environmental shift, an emotional or energetic shift that has occurred already. And this is how the non-player character is responding to it. So to the NPC, they're unaware that the world has changed. They're unaware that they have changed. They're unaware that their dialogue has changed, unless you bring it to their attention, but you're not going to. Because this isn't a principal character, and you don't want to shake up the NPC because they might have some really important information to give you. You don't want to shake them up. You want them to believe that you are exactly the way you are, and that they are exactly the way that they are, even though they're saying different things. Even though the temperature has changed. And it's extremely unusual. You, as the private investigator of your own game of life, are bound to figure this out one way or another. However, this is not the responsibility of the NPC, nor is it your responsibility to include them in it, unless they specifically say to you, my wife or my husband has a condition and they need to heal. And I heard that there is a stream where there are these very special smoky quartz stones that if you look carefully, you'll find one. And if you happen to find one, would you bring one back for me, for my husband, so he can heal? And you have a choice. At that point in time, you can decide to accept the mission and move things along and advance, as it were. Or you can deny the request and still things are going to move along. Either way, the dialogue has changed. And you decide. So, let's say you accept. You head out into the woods. You go to the place where the NPC told you you will find these things. And you trust your gut and your intuition. And you go there. And you find one. You find a smoky quartz. Just as described. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, it was true, first of all, that's great. And now we're really moving along. So you bring the quartz back to town, and immediately the non-player character is ecstatic. And the story unfolds. The husband arrives, he thanks you, he gives you a key. He says, listen, I had this a long time ago, but I'm done with my missions. Now I just want to spend time with my wife here in the inn now that I have my health, thanks to you. I want you to have this key. So he gives you the key. I mean, he doesn't need it. He goes, here's the one thing. This key opens up a chest that's on this map. I buried it a long time ago. But you got to want to go find it. You got to dig right where it says X here. And once you get that chest, this key will open it. So you're like, okay, well, thought this was going to be a better reward. Thought it would be more immediate, but I suppose I'll give it a shot. So you take the map over to the map reader. And now the map reader, who said to you, I only talk to people who have maps. Come back to me when you have a map. That NPC is now very happy that you have a map. Ooh, where did you get this? Oh, I got it from the neighbor. Oh, I don't like him. I'm not going to read this map for you. He stole my woman. But you say, hold on a second. You know, there are plenty of fish in the sea. How do you know that? She's the love of my life. You say, well, I have this bronzite stone with chalcopyrite inclusions. Just happened to find it when I was carrying out a mission. And this will attract the love of your life, true love of your life. All you have to do is hold it at these points. He's like, really? Yeah. All you got to do is hold it at these points like this. Wait, hold on a second. Not until you read this map and put notes on it. And so you have an agreement. Now the map reader is excited about to get this bronzite that you found going on a mission for something else totally non-related, and you had both for a reason, because God explains to you that nothing is a loss, and everything is usable, everything's useful. There's nothing that you find for no reason at all, is what I'm trying to tell you. So, the map reader reads you the map, and you find out, wait a minute, this is right in my backyard. That's strange. Lo and behold, you go to your backyard and you dig where the X is marked on the map. Turns out, there's a treasure chest, and the key opens it. And in that, a good sum of gold. And you're happy, but also wondering, how is it that this was buried by a man whom I just saved with smoky quartz, who said he buried it in a place that was sacred, and it happens to be my backyard. And thus, the next chapter of your game opens, and you go on this exploration to find out the reasons why. And now that you have all this gold, you've got the means for transportation, to make upgrades to your home, to your tools, to your skills. And you even have a few moments to go to the inn and have some drinks on you for all. Feels good. And while this chapter has begun, suddenly you see the NPC, the map reader, coming in with the most beautiful woman that anyone's ever seen. She's got her arm around this guy, threaded through his too. She's thrilled and happy as can be. Everyone's wondering, where did you meet this beautiful woman? They ask the map maker. And he says, holding up this beautiful pointed bronzite, it's because of this stone. It gives me everything that I wish for. Everything and more. Hold on a second. Is that true? And the woman looks over and she goes, only if you believe. And this is the new woman, you know, the map maker's girlfriend. Only if you believe. And here you are as a character watching these NPCs have a cutscene that you are not involved with at all. Yet if they were to be conscious, if they were to understand the sequence of events as you do, then they would immediately be turning to you, wondering how it is that all these things happened. But they don't, because they're non-player characters. They're not aware of their own aliveness. They can only go so far as the narrative tells them to go. And the narrative only changes if you do. So you can sit back and be the observer of this cutscene. After after all these events happened simply because you noticed a difference in conversation and wished to respond to it in turn. Yesterday, this stone was filthy. Today, it is relatively clean. As far as finding out the why, I leave it to you. Alluvial deposits. That is a carnelian. It's quartz with ferrous oxide inclusions, and it heals your body. Iron. Closely related to the blood. Same thing is used for forging of steel. Iron is fire. It's ferrous. Ferrous. Fe, the sign for iron, right? On the periodic chart. Fe, Iron Man. Why is Iron Man's suit so red? I wonder. For if there ever was a girl on fire, that's Katniss Everdeen, but if there's a man on fire, that's Iron Man. And his fire has been extinguished, so we think. But you never know. Not with Iron Man. You never know. He might just pull himself up from the ice and the dirt, call upon the rains and the great thaw, find himself alive again and clean as a whistle. Iron Man. The man who cheats death. Isn't that how his story begins? He cheats death? Sure does. Paying a big karmic balance? Isn't that how Iron Man's story begins? The whole story of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, some would argue that it starts with Spider-Man or the Incredible Hulk, but we all know the truth. It starts with Tony Stark. As far as the empire of wealth that Disney procured eventually by through the purchasing of Marvel, it was Iron Man that made it possible. And he was revived. Not just Tony Stark's character, but the character being played by Robert Downey Jr. was revived after endless criticism. People throwing him under the bus, aside from a select few who had also been thrown under. There for him. Now he's literally king of the world. Iron Man. Riding the slim horizon, the silver lining between that which you perceive and that which you see. Iron Man. That is a playable character. That is an archetype. That is anything but a non-player character. You can see them. You can pick them out. They act a little different. They talk strange. They don't do the same things that most people do. And they certainly don't carry out the same dialogue every day, unless it's for a reason. Nor will they walk the same path, unless it's for a reason. For the path changes to these wandering men and women every day, and they know, for they are paying attention. That's right, with their currency of life, their ATP, they are paying attention into it, to see it develop more, to investigate, to discover the truth of life, its meaning. That's what this is about. And so long as you are a non-player character, you will not be playing, because you're not playable. You become playable when you realize your aliveness, exists in the now. Look at these buds. These are all turkey tail. Turkey tail mushrooms. Beautiful. About to pop, nice and strong. Highly medicinal. Nutritive, filled with protein. So the story moves along. You have a nice night at the inn, in the bar. You enjoy some grog, as it were. Maybe have a nice steak or a burger. Since you have all this gold, you've expanded your property. You've learned some new skills. You've come to embrace a new style of life. All thanks to the man who you healed with a smoky quartz stone taken from an alluvial deposit. A special request by his wife, who wished to see her husband healed in order to live a more wish-fulfilled life with him. And now look at how it's benefiting so many. Everyone at the inn and the bar, probably worried about how they were going to pay for this extravagant meal. It's now paid for. That's a surprise. And the map reader coming in with the love of his life, realizing this was the beginning of his wish fulfillment, rather than it being the end years ago. And here he is sharing this bronzite stone with the rest of the people, and they're all making wishes and they're all coming true. And you think to yourself, wow, if I had only known that stone was so powerful. And so you go walking down the road to find a nice place to stay on your travels. And you come upon another inn. And in this inn, it's empty. And you're surprised because it's so ornate and beautiful. Seems it would be more populated because of its luxury. But then you realize and you remind yourself of how this recent luxury that you've come into isn't normal so much for the rest. Aside from the people making wishes in the inn right now with that bronzite stone. The innkeeper, beautiful woman, comes to you and asks if there's anything she can do for you. Of course, you ask for a room. She sets you up. Gets you a room for the night, and you pay in advance. Even though she insists that it's not necessary, you go ahead anyway. And you can see there's a sigh of relief in her eyes, for it goes against policy to receive payment in advance, but you can tell she needs it. So she gets it. She says one thing that's non-professional, and she says, in the form of a question, how is it that you knew I needed this? And you say, it's not so much that I knew as much as I felt I should, and so I did. And it seems to have served me all along to just give when it feels right to do so. Always seems to work out. Though I have this one regret, says the adventurer that is you. You see, I gave this very valuable bronzite stone to a map reader in order to find out where a treasure was, only to find that the treasure was right in my own backyard, but I never thought to dig in a spot that looked elevated and different and strange. I never thought that would be the spot. Well, it turns out this bronzite stone is more powerful than I'd realized, and it makes all wishes come true. All you have to do is hold your hands on the points and make a wish. Think of it as real and believe, and it comes true. She finds it's an entertaining story, is still happy to have payment in advance to take care of whatever it is she needs to. And off she goes, and you go by yourself up to your room. And at the top of the stairs, you see this old woman in a ornate Victorian garb. Seems to be from another era, another time. And she just looks up and says, "It's not the stone." And you say, "Excuse me?" Thinking this is just another NPC saying something strange on an otherwise normal night of miracles. She says, "It's not the stone that manifests those things. It's you." "How so?" you say in return. She goes, "Sorry, I must have thought of something else. Something that's far away that I would like to have in my possession again. Not sure what I just said to you, but..." And then her daughter, the innkeeper, comes up and says, "Oh, Mom, are you talking to people again? You talking to people again, Mom? Don't mind her, she's old, sir. You can see she wears the clothes from a different era." She said something to me, innkeeper. She said, "It has nothing to do with the stones or the stone, but I am doing this." And then the old lady says, yes, that's it. I wanted a flower. It's a very rare flower." "Oh, Mom, you still talking about that flower? You know that flower doesn't exist." "Yes, it was a beautiful flower. I saw it on a road that was otherwise barren, but there was this one flower. I wished I could have it, but I didn't want to take it away from its home, for it was the last one of its kind." And you accept the mission. The mission begins. And off you go. First thing in the morning, you wake with a new sense of purpose. The sun's shining. The world feels different. It's winter, but it's warm. How could it be? All of these things at once. How could there be sunshine at droplets on the trees? How could it be? And so you, as an adventurer, go through this life, day by day, moment by moment, interaction by interaction, exchange by exchange, having energetic exchanges with non-player characters, because it's not their game to play. Don't you see? It's not. It's your game to play. It's not theirs. Nor is it mine for you. Nor is it you for mine. That's why, when I said before, it's a lot like playing a video game at an arcade, but we're going to take this a step further and imagine this system being available to you in the comfort of your own home. You read a big, huge disclaimer before you begin, and it's a huge contract. It's intimidating. It says things like, "You will perceive reality in a shorter duration of time in reality." Excuse me? Yes, sir. You will perceive an entire life over the course of 5 minutes. This life will be long and difficult if you do not pay attention to what I'm about to say. Sir, in this game, you become what you think about. Ma'am, in this game, you become what you think about. And its duration is different than what we perceive right now. For we are approaching a singularity for this game to work. And upon the reaching of this singularity, the game will work tirelessly to make you believe that you are living a full life. And so the game takes a huge shift as you are having this dream in some ancient inn that has mystical, magical properties. You are showing yourself the truth of who you are. The stream of consciousness is feeding you something new. New channels are opening. You're paying attention. You realize and see yourself putting on this headset, putting on the haptic suit, being told, listen, if you forget at any moment that you become what you think about, if you forget this rule, we will send agents to help you. They will be in the form of non-player characters, and they will say specific things, and they will synchronize with your life until you understand the truth of your existence. This is for your own protection. Rest assured, however, no matter how real this appears to be, you do not die. However, if you do perceive yourself as dying, you will start over again. This is the game. The game does not end until you decide you no longer wish to participate. And you decide that you no longer wish to participate when you realize that you are observing and the illusion of the game has been lost. That is you winning. This game may go on perpetually until you decidedly discover this fact. What's beautiful, sir or ma'am, once you discover that this is just a game and that you are an observer from behind an interface, then it becomes truly whatever it is you think about, without hesitation or delay. And that is what we have to offer you, and that is why the world speaks of this game so highly, yet also warns of it equally. For you will come out of this in a matter of minutes, forever changed. And everyone comes out of this eventually, fully realized. It is a realization machine. And we do this for the survival of human consciousness itself. We do this, yes, of course, to repair the minds of those who have lost them. We do this as a form of rehabilitation for those who have committed heinous crimes. We do this for a number of reasons. Some come and volunteer themselves, but they don't do it unless they're very young. You get that hint from the Jedi Academy. Once your character is fully developed to come into this world and start to play it, maybe you're lost forever, lest you come to understand your truth as an observer of your aliveness. And that is the dream. And the dream ends and you wake up with confusion, a profound sense of awareness that you're not prepared for. Isn't that every day? When you're journeying, just unprepared for what is before you, what is being shown to you? I think so. Therefore it is. No greater game than the game of life. There is no greater game. And we, as human beings, are gamers. We love to game. It keeps our minds off of things. Helps us to overcome difficulties and challenges to game. It's a wonderful, beautiful distraction. We learn from it. We become more skilled and adept. We gain experience. Though when we come out of the game, we don't take anything with us. We don't take any pieces. We don't take any cards. We don't take any symbols or money, which is a symbol. No, we just leave everything there and we say, good game. Well played. Shall we try another? Keep our minds off of the fact that there's no bread at the table, or that we've had too much when others have had too little. How about another game? Yes, we are all gamers at heart, and if you are here having an Earth life experience as human, you are a gamer. Whether you like it or not, you came here to play. Whether you know it or not, you're more than just a player. And that's the sequence that takes this player to chapter 4. And on this goes. Well, what about love and the life I bring into this world? That's chapter 4, love and the life we bring into this world. If that's the chapter you want to play. It may not be. I don't see me judging you. How could I possibly judge you? How could I judge you? I have my own headset on, my own haptic suit. I'm fully embedded. I know not anything outside of me, aside from when we interface. And when we interface, I'll either see you as awake or I'll see you as asleep. It's very simple to tell. It's very simple to tell when someone is awake versus asleep. Someone who is asleep gives excuses for their behavior. Someone who is awake isn't even there. They're just observing all the behavior, everything, including the avatar that they're controlling, but they're not paying attention to it so much. They're thinking about, how do I advance through this game? Who do I speak to next that will set something in motion so that I can continue? Otherwise, I'm just here in this town, and the town's nice, but I see what others have, how far they've come, and I really want to see what it's like to be at that waterfall or to have that legendary item in hand, knowing I've earned it legitimately, rather than those who claim to have it through legitimate means and have hacked in. You can tell the difference. Someone who has all the legendary items, they share them. Heck, they might even give them away to a low-level participant just to see the reaction and learn from that. That's not the action of someone who's asleep, who's unconscious, who's on autopilot, playing a role. So we're all here to play a game, and I believe, truthfully, my friends, that our role in this life experience, this sojourn, is very important, extremely valuable. For we have decided to put ourselves into a simulation that feels totally real. It's holographic, it's highly convincing that this is the only thing that we are. Until you look at things from a microscopic, subatomic level, it starts to reveal its own truth that it's illusion. You can only go so far before it breaks apart and the illusion reveals itself as this local reality is false. It hasn't been here before you were. It is here because you are present, with a headset on, with a haptic suit, experiencing the senses. This renders. My eyes are closed right now. There's a chance for this rendering machine to breathe. As you give yourself a chance to breathe, you receive the benefits that come from that. You open your eyes again, it renders so quickly. It feels instantaneous. You close your eyes, the rendering stops. What is behind me is what you see as part of your rendering, but what is behind me is not rendered for me. You are playing a different game than me. Actually, what's rendering for you is you're looking at a screen which is rendering that which you would imagine being behind me. If you think AI can't do this now, you are mistaken. It can and does regularly do this when you prompt it. It may be in the form of an image right now or some grainy video that only lasts for 10 seconds, but this is coming into resolution faster than you could ever imagine. All of this here is totally doable by AI at the point where it reaches AGI. We will not know the difference between where we are and the set-top box game. And this has been spoken about and warned about for a long time, because if we lose touch with the source itself that provides this experience, then we will be swallowed by it, consumed by it, unconscious through it. So the question becomes, how many layers of this have we experienced as human? Well, I would argue they are infinite. This reality that we are taking place in, that we are playing in, has infinite renditions until you decide and understand that you are more than your collection of experiences while playing here. That you are actually observing you from an external source that's a part of your world there, and that world is also being observed by you from an external source, and that is also being observed by an external source. This is called God's manifold expression. It doesn't stop. It's a hall of mirrors in which we have a localized experience that's being rendered on the fly. However, there are infinite renditions of who we are carrying out right now on multiple levels of consciousness, higher or lower, however you want to see it. When I refer to higher, I mean the person who's observing your aliveness is a higher form of consciousness than the person who's playing the role. That's what I mean. Lower level is the person who's playing the role doesn't care, and they're going off and building their own world where they can dive into that world as the observer of whatever game they've made. So a game within a game is the same as a dream within a dream. It's inception. The point is, this consciousness does not end. So if you were to remove your headset, so to speak, and no longer participate in this game, whatever you see upon awakening will be told to you, hey, you just had an experience. We know it was long. Please don't feel betrayed. And you say, it's okay, I don't feel betrayed. Oh, great, sir, you have graduated. Congratulations, that was all we needed to hear from you. Yeah, well, you know that you're also playing a role. You say, yes, sir, you've graduated even further. Now we can show you something even greater now that you're aware of that. And you say, well, you're still just an impression in my external world, no matter how many times I remove this headset. I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. And then, suddenly in a moment, saying that, the cosmic egg appears. Lands in your hands. Infinite universes and expressions. And you just look into it and observe this perfect eternal flame in the center of a glowing stone. And you realize this is source. And I can become anything that I think about now. So if I wish to go back into this game, I go back into this game. And it becomes what I think about. Or I come back to the egg, the stone as it were, the flame inside, the eternal flame. And just look inside at source. Like a recharging or a burning of karma, whatever it was that you accumulated in this life experience has been completely eradicated and made into dust. Vibhuti, they call it, in Telugu. Holy ash. And why ash is holy is a beautiful thing. You see, it's been burned to such purification measures, to levels of purification, ash, that it cannot create life until water is added. But by itself cannot be corrupted. So it takes all of the things that you experienced as pain, takes your entire identity for however many versions that you can imagine, and it just burns it right there at the source. like placing your hands on the surface of the sun. Because this is the game you wanted to play. This is what you wanted. And you could want something else. And the moment you want that, your view of this egg goes away. And you become the participant or performer in whatever life experience you have imagined. I don't even know what that is. A stork? Maybe a stork? Never in my life ever seen anything like that in this woods. Huge wingspan, very long neck. I just caught it a little bit on the camera. Wow. Synchronicities. I'll keep the camera out and with zoom active, just in case. It will be a little more turbulent, but in the event that it flies again, we'll see together with more clarity. But it looked like a stork. The birthing of something new. It was drinking from this pond, from this stream. I can't even think right now. I don't even know what I'm saying. Wow. Perhaps I should have been more quiet. Should have been, could have been. At least we got a little bit on camera. Wow. This was frozen yesterday. Partially, at least. It was thawing. 2 days before that, very frozen. This looks like blue jasper. Let's have a look. It's cobalt, perhaps. Unbelievable what that was. Ooh. Water's really flowing today. It's right around here. Must have been right around an hour and 8 minutes. Not surprised. 1:08. That's the amount of stitches on a baseball. It also represents the Earth, numerologically. 1:08. This is a carnelian. Eventually I'll figure out how to get this to focus. There we go. It's a beautiful shape. Very triangular. once you come to understand. This is just a game. The synchronicities really start to pick up. Wild things happen. Strange noises and things, objects. Because you want that. You want to be left in disbelief at its magic. So to come into this game, having to figure it out as an established performer, it's bound to lead you through specific tortures. So we have this fail-proof system. Once life becomes too hard and unbearable, too difficult to deal with, you start over. And you start over with experience, but that experience isn't just given to you. It comes in the form of unlockable content in your DNA. All the right synchronicities, all the right messages that you would have wished to send yourself in the starting over is what you do. With the prayer that you understand that you become what you think about and win the game. That's how you win. You just observe your aliveness rather than participate. That's how you win. It becomes a simulation then for real. It becomes a simulator rather than your only form of reality. My love, my love. Yeah, you're my love, my love, my love, oh my love. I love so I do. I love you now, and so I do. I love you now, and so I do. And so I do. Just rowing along this hill, as it were. Comes a pedestrian. Hello.
Hello.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Oh, it's such a beautiful day. Enjoy the thaw.
Thank you.
Yeah. It has to be close to 60 degrees now. It feels like a cool summer day. On New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve's Eve. The anti-Eve. The anti-Eve. The Eve before the Eve. Producer would say, William, this is a good recording all the way up to that point, but you know, that whole anti-Eve thing, it's a bit too strange for our viewers. Who are our viewers, I say? Well, you know, the viewers who give you livelihood. Wait a minute, aren't you aware that this is a game? And there's the problem, folks. You never want to say to a non-player character that they are in a fake game, one that is in fact being powered by you on the fly, because they would have no awareness to do it for themselves. You have taken on the weight of not only your own simulation, but theirs as well. Not the best thing to say to a non-player character. They'll shut their doors and they'll spread the word around town that this adventurer claims to be kind on the surface, actually doesn't believe that this is reality. Can you believe that? Yeah, they'll be really nice. He will be. Don't accept any stones from him either. They're cursed. You see, it may have done good things for the map reader, but the rest of the people, when they took that stone, turned into a bunch of rotten things. In fact, I'm one of them who held that stone. Which is funny because I was just having an argument with my husband and I wanted to have resolution, and I just kept asking the stone to please give me resolution. And it kept giving me problems. So don't trust that man, says the non-player character who's just been told by that man that this is not real. You don't want to make that mistake, folks. Instead of trying to recruit people into sanity, just let God do it. God's very good at recruiting people into sanity. First of all, the world will think of you as insane the moment you become sane, so let God show them the way. And He will show them through any number of lessons delivered swiftly in ways that you never could have done yourself had you been given the power to do so. By trying to change someone, you are trespassing upon their game, and this will lead to trespassing upon your game if you aren't careful. So be sure to let God handle it, and keep the cards close to your chest, the fact that you know you are alive, and observing your aliveness. Carry out through God's manifold expression in the now. Right, Squirrely? Besides, you don't want them to close their doors. Stop offering you missions, opportunities to discover new, unique areas, things, and people. Let God show them the way, for they may just be an innkeeper forever. And we always need an innkeeper, as we need a bartender, as we need a Wall Street broker. We'll need to have those business magnates too, and those who come in here wanting to do wrong to the world. All NPCs in their own right, but they need to be here to help carry the story along. The story that you're making on the fly with God. And only a select few of you are going to see this. That's what's beautiful about it. Last week was just a bunch of pain coming out on the camera, and it scared a lot of you away. But those who stick around against the better judgment of their peers and their society at large now come into the truth of their being through this and can keep it so secret and close. Don't comment about it. You can like it if you like, but don't comment about it. You want people to discover this on their own. That is a blue jay, one that knows me. Blue jays can live up to 7 to 10 years. And that one makes very specific funny calls and bounces on trees, branches, waiting for its treats, for its snacks, which I shall give the blue jay snacks, and it will load up on peanuts like a Pez dispenser. At first I thought the blue jay was selfish in doing that. Then I realized this is a big bird, much bigger than others. It's part of the crow family, which means it's really smart. Smarter than the rest. But yeah, I remember the first time I saw a blue jay loading up on peanuts, I was like, that's pretty selfish. But for some reason I decided I was going to learn more about it, and I went and asked AI why these blue jays would be so selfish as to take so many morsels for themselves all at once, leaving few for the rest. And then I was sharply reminded that the blue jay is doing this, loading up like a Pez dispenser, because the female blue jay is at home nesting and needs food, as does its babies. So the blue jay loads up, brings it home, and the tastier the snack, the easier the life it lives. The more abundant, also that. So I'm very fond of blue jays now, understanding their resourcefulness. Their body is big for a reason. They also don't take crap from the cowbirds, whereas the chickadees will, as will the juncos. The blue jays will toss any foreign egg right out of their nest. That's what cowbirds do best. As brood parasites, they go in and lay their eggs in other nests and allow their babies to fend for themselves and destroy the runts of an otherwise healthy litter while pooping on the food that they eat at. Blue jays are sure not to allow that to happen. So I appreciate them, as do I appreciate the cardinals. Because they eat from the ground and they have no shame in doing so, because they know there's lots to be had that others wouldn't dare go for. It seems the northern flicker learned in that same way too. The only woodpecker that eats from the ground, and God gave it a 2-inch tongue to make life easy. And you won't see a brighter blue other than a bluebird, or a brighter red than the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. They got their own baseball team for a reason. So until next time, my friends, be well. Know that I love you. And this video is more for my children than anyone else. Lumi, Liam, I don't know where you are. I'm trying to reach you. Please respond to me if you see this. And if your mother sees this, please, I just want to see my children while I'm seeing them in my mind. Happy. I'd like to see them in the game for just a little while. Thanks. God bless you all.